How to stop overthinking everything. Why overthinking destroys confidence and self esteem. We're going to talk about this today and some tips for moving through overthinking if you're one of those kind of people. Welcome back to the Self Esteem and Confidence Mindset podcast with me, Johnny Pardo. Glad to have you with me today. Overthinking is something I've definitely been caught up in my life because I'm a human being. Now, the degree to which I've been overthinking and holding myself back has varied in my life. But when I have let it hold me back, that's made me very miserable and lose respect for myself. So I decided to talk about this because it's so important and so many people are like, I'm an overthinker, I think too much, and they don't move forward. And sometimes they don't even recognize how much they're doing it. I'm in coaching programs where the coach will call out the overthinkers. I'm in one right now and the people are so in their head. I need to do this, this and this, but then I need to set that up before I do this, blah, 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 blah. Now, I'm a big fan of planning, scheduling, all those kind of things. And I've been someone who's tried to overschedule and not move forward. But I like to plan, but I also like to take messy action as well, which is what I've learned from really successful entrepreneurs and people who are really good at what they do. They don't overthink. They plan, they take calculated risks, they assess things, but they take a lot more action. And for me, when I've taken a lot of action, like even podcasting and messy action, that's when I've been able to move forward. By me setting up a podcast, for example, where I was in my wardrobe to start off with just like these wired headphones, no fancy mic, I attract some of the best people on the planet at what they do as guests on my podcast. Just because I didn't overthink it, I had fun and I took action on the way. So I want to give you some tips, but how miserable does overthinking make you, right? It can hold you back so many times. And it's like some people think there's got to be a fancy way through it, but there isn't other than taking action. Okay. Now there are some other things I'm going to suggest with you as well. So number one, start small in terms of your habits. If you're like, right, if you want to write a book, for example. Oh, and this is something I've got to share before the first point. And this is me being real. Like I just came out of a point in my head. I'm like, oh, I didn't have that as a bullet point in the points I was going to share. But that's because I'm in flow because I don't overthink these things. But I released a book in a week. Like there's people like, I know people got different approaches to books and stuff like that. There's people who spend years writing a book. I don't understand that personally. I don't think I need more than 6 months, if that. And I was doing this in my latest book, which kind of annoyed me. That's why I released it in a week. Like I released a book from it being in the kind of draft, it's okay kind of place that I was going to put off till next year to deciding I was going to release it that week at the end of the week because I was committed and I took the action. I went, okay, this book's like in draft. I need to read through some things. I need to modify some chapters. So what I did was I'm launching into this week. I'm submitting, done. Right. And now multiple people are buying my book because I'm like, books out, books out, books out. And everyone's like following my energy and they're like, yes, I'm going to get it. Right. It's like, really, I'm nothing special. I am just, I like to tell myself I'm special because I think you should do that as well, personally, for yourself. Don't need to say how special I am. Just to be clear, tell yourself how special you are, you beautiful human being. So I'm nothing special in that respect. I just made a decision to launch and commit to action. It's something you can flip into a decision in the moment, right? So number one, start small action, habits, right? Or pick one thing. Like for me, it was launching a book in a week. I'm only solely focusing on that. If you're doing a daily habit, have no more than 3 you're introducing into your life, 1 to 3. So it's like, right, your habit is, if you're like, you've never been to the gym for ages, or haven't been to the gym for ages. If you've never been, you've never been, of course. You haven't been to the gym for ages. Don't set yourself like 2 hours to work out each day. Set yourself 20 minutes because then you're going to get to a point of like overthinking it. Oh, I've got to do this. I've got to do all that exercise, as opposed to like a 20-minute run each day or 20-minute run or workout, right? So start small, little habits. Number 2, and don't add too many because you'll want to if you're a high achiever, but then you'll backfire because you've got too much and your brain gets overwhelmed and starts overthinking it. Number 2, practice making decisions faster. Small decisions, like you go to a restaurant, what do you want to eat? I want that. Like, I catch myself doing this sometimes. I'm like, oh, that looks good. Oh, that also looks good. Oh, that looks good. I was going for lunch yesterday, for example, with a friend. I'm like, oh, I caught myself in this. I was like, actually, we could go there. Oh, there. Then I'm like, right, I need to flip this. We're going to that place. I want to go to that place. Is that good with you? Cool. Right. What we're going to order? Ooh, I'll catch myself again. Right, I'm going for that one. And then we're very decisive, right? Appreciate we're all different, but if you can practice making more decisions faster, obviously calculate the risks and stuff like that. So choosing food is minimal, unless I'm choosing a place which gives food poisoning, which I'm going to say no, or has got reports of that, right? But practice making little decisions fast, because that's going to help you with the overthinking. Just, it's a muscle for me, making decisions fast. The more you can do it. Now, of course, some decisions you might need a bit more analysis, right? In terms of like which vendor and business or whatever you go with, you need a bit more on that. But the more you can practice these small little decisions, the more you're going to work through overthinking day to day. Number 3, mindful practices, because our thoughts get so bombarded. But when you do things like meditation, breath work, or just being mindful, observing things, like slowing down, that can really allow you to see your thoughts that are just like racing, and then come back to you as a result. Number 4, get yourself in high performing environments, like people who are going to raise your standards. I've learned from being surrounded by people in real successful businesses. And a few months ago, I was in quite a dark place, and then I went to an event, and I was like, do you know what? It's a bit of a stretch, but I'm going to go for the maximum ticket, right? I'm going to invest thousands in the maximum ticket so I can have dinner with Danny Morell, who's like a real huge influence in my life, and his wife Jen. And they talk about like healing and working in a relationship with yourself. And they're like, I went for the maximum ticket to be surrounded by people who are really good. And one of them is a multi-millionaire, now a good friend of mine. She calls me regularly, not regularly, but well, fairly regularly. A good friend of mine, and she'll like say things to me like, what are you doing with that? And it's like gets me to think into action very quickly. And then we have like a lovely chat, so it's not like too much pressure. But that kind of person in my life gets me to take more action. Like, I was talking to her when me and her and a whole group were in California. And then I'm like catching myself in my head like, oh, I'm thinking of this and that. And she's like saying in other words, snap out of it. I can hear you overthinking. And I catch myself, right? But having that kind of person gets me into a different way of thinking. If you've got like people who is indecisive and they're just like negative about life, you're going to adapt to that. You adapt to your environment, even if it's in a virtual environment on like Zoom calls and things like that. So look at high performing environments where people are taking action. Like I've learned from people who are really successful. They're just very cool and calm. Obviously, if you insult them, they wouldn't be very happy, but they wouldn't like hold on to it too much. But like people who are really good at what they do and love themselves and their life, like so focused on their mission and taking action and executing. So if you surround yourself with more of that, that's going to help you. Even listening to uplifting people, like I can feel like I'm in the room with some of the most successful people on the planet by listening to them on podcasts, for example. Listen to some of my guests on my podcast as well. And then number 5, look at evidence in your life where you have acted with like more action. Maybe it's in or where you are doing really well. Maybe it's in a job that you're so good at or comfortable with, even if you like it or not. But like think, oh, you don't overthink that. You just execute on it. And then think about, is there an area in your life where you overthink? How can you apply how you do one thing where you're doing it really well and not overthinking into another area of your life? What is that success formula? So those are my points on overthinking, because I know it's a huge challenge. Number 1, start small. Small habits, or set yourself one thing to achieve, and or set yourself one thing to achieve in the week, one goal. 2, practice making decisions fast, the smaller ones, such as where you go out to eat. Number 3, mindful practices, so you can look at those fast thoughts coming in. Number 4, surround yourself with high performers who execute very, very well, because you'll adapt to that. And then number 5, look at your evidence in life where you don't overthink and you execute very well, and how can you apply that to an area where you are overthinking. as you're an overthinker, I would suggest just starting with one of these, right? And moving forward with that. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. And remember to lead with your heart and not with fear.